Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something I learned in my life. Success is not built overnight. People want instant results. They want to see progress without putting in the time. But life doesn't work that way. If you really want to make it, if you really want to see your dream come alive, you've got to understand one truth. Success needs consistency. Look, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you this straight from the heart. If you ever want to achieve anything meaningful in life, you've got to master discipline. Discipline is the backbone of consistency, and consistency is the foundation of success. Too many people want to wait for motivation to kick in, but motivation is like a spark. It lights up for a moment, and then it fades away. Discipline, on the other hand, is the firewood that keeps the flame burning. It's what makes you show up even when you don't feel like it. It's what separates those who dream from those who actually live their dream. I can't tell you how many times in my life I didn't feel like going to that audition. Didn't feel like writing another joke. Didn't feel like hustling for another opportunity. But I had to remind myself that feelings are temporary and discipline is permanent. See, discipline doesn't care if you're tired, if you're broke, or if the odds are against you. Discipline says, get up and do it anyway. It's easy to work hard when everything is going right, but the real test of a person's character is whether they can keep going when everything is going wrong. Think about it like this. A professional athlete doesn't just train on the days they feel great. They train every single day because they know discipline builds habits and habits build success. That same principle applies to every area of life. You want financial freedom? You've got to be disciplined with your spending. You want to be healthy? You got to be disciplined with your eating and your exercise. You want a strong relationship? You've got to be disciplined in how you love, communicate, and show up. Success is nothing more than disciplined actions repeated over time until they create results. Here's the truth. Discipline is not punishment. People think discipline means restriction, that it means you're limiting yourself. No, discipline is freedom. Discipline is what gives you control over your future. If you're disciplined today, you won't have to be desperate tomorrow. If you're disciplined and putting in the work, you won't have to scramble when opportunity knocks. You'll already be prepared. I always tell people, if you can conquer yourself, you can conquer anything. Because the hardest battle you'll ever fight is not against the world, it's against your own mind. Your excuses, your laziness, your fear. That's the enemy. And the only way to win is with discipline. Every time you wake up early when you wanted to sleep in, every time you save money instead of spending it, every time you choose to work instead of procrastinate, you building strength, you building character, you building a future that nothing can take away. So if you want to be consistent, if you want success, start with discipline. Do what needs to be done, not just when you feel like it, but especially when you don't. Because the small disciplined choices you make every single day, that's what builds the life you've been dreaming about. Ladies and gentlemen, when I say success needs consistency, the first thing you have to understand is discipline, because without it, nothing else works. Discipline is what pushes you out of bed when you're tired. It's what makes you take another step when you want to quit. It's what keeps you locked in on your goals when distractions are pulling at you from every direction. Too many people wait until they feel motivated before they start working on their dreams. But motivation is short-lived. It comes and goes depending on your mood. Discipline doesn't care about moods. Discipline is about commitment. It's about showing up on the days you feel unstoppable and on the days you feel broken. Every successful person you admire didn't just get there because of talent. They got there because they were disciplined enough to keep practicing, keep learning, and keep grinding even when it wasn't easy. The world doesn't hand out rewards for effort. It hands them out for results, and results only come when discipline becomes your lifestyle. Now, once you've got discipline, you also have to understand patience, because consistency is not about quick wins. We live in a world where everybody wants everything instantly. They want success to happen overnight. They want their dream to show up at their doorstep tomorrow. But that's not how it works. Success is not a microwave meal. It's a slow-cooked dinner. You plant seeds, you water them, you nurture them, and then you wait for them to grow. And while you're waiting, you don't stop working. You don't stop believing. You don't stop putting in the effort. Patience is not sitting back and doing nothing. It's the ability to keep moving forward even when the results haven't shown up yet. It's trusting the process when you can't see progress. I remember when I was struggling in my career, working little comedy clubs, getting paid barely enough to eat. There were nights when I wanted to give up because it felt like nothing was changing, but I had to remind myself that everything takes time. Patience is about knowing that your time is coming, but only if you don't quit before it arrives. Most people miss out on success not because they lack talent, but because they lack patience. They walked away too soon. They didn't give their dream enough time to mature. Discipline gets you started and keeps you going. Patience allows you to wait for the payoff without losing faith. Together, they create consistency, and consistency is what produces results. If you can discipline yourself to show up every day, and you can be patient enough to wait for the fruits of your labor, there's no dream too big, no mountain too high, and no goal out of reach. Ladies and gentlemen, if you really want to understand why success needs consistency, you've got to start with discipline. Discipline is the root of every achievement. It's the reason some people make it while others don't. Anybody can dream, but discipline is what forces you to wake up early, to stay late, to do the things you don't want to do because you know they're necessary for your growth. Motivation is nice, but it's not enough. Motivation fades as soon as life hits you with obstacles, but discipline is what keeps you steady when the storm comes. It's easy to work on your goals when everything is going well, but the test is whether you can keep showing up when you're tired, frustrated, or discouraged. That's where discipline separates the dreamers from the doers. But even with discipline, you have to understand patience. Success doesn't come on your schedule. It comes on God's schedule. Too many people quit because they planted the seed but got tired of waiting for the harvest. You can't rush greatness. You can't expect to start today and be celebrated tomorrow. Patience is about trusting the process. When you're consistent, it may feel like nothing's happening, but in reality, something is always happening behind the scenes. Growth is slow, but it's steady. Think about a tree. It doesn't shoot up overnight, but every day it's pushing deeper roots underground before it rises tall. That's what patience does for you. It gives your dream roots. And without patience, you'll pull up the seed before it even has a chance to grow. And then this focus, the third key that ties it all together. Discipline gets you moving, patience keeps you waiting, but focus makes sure you move in the right direction. Too many people are consistent in the wrong things. They're disciplined in habits that don't serve them. They're patient in waiting for opportunities, but not focused on preparing for them. Focus is about knowing what you want and refusing to let distractions take you off course. Life will always try to pull your attention. Friends, social media, doubt, fear, all these things compete for your energy. But when you're focused, you keep your eyes on the prize, no matter how loud the noise gets around you. Without focus, discipline turns into wasted effort, and patience turns into wasted time. But with focus, every step you take is intentional. Every sacrifice has meaning, and every delay becomes part of the bigger plan. So if you really want consistency, you need the discipline to act, the patience to wait, and the focus to stay locked in on your vision. That's the formula. When you combine those three, You build momentum that nothing can stop. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to win in life, you first have to understand discipline. Discipline is the fuel that keeps you moving when motivation runs out. It's easy to do the work when you're excited, but discipline makes you do it when you're tired, broke, or feeling defeated. It's about making a commitment to yourself that no matter what happens, you're going to show up. Discipline is not about punishment. It's about freedom. The freedom to look at your future and know that your sacrifices today are building a tomorrow you can be proud of. Every time you ignore an excuse and push forward anyway, you're strengthening your character and proving to yourself that success is possible. But discipline alone won't carry you if you don't have patience. This is where a lot of people fail. They want results right away, and the minute they don't see progress, they give up. Success is not instant. It's not supposed to be. It takes time to build something that lasts. Patience is what keeps you steady when your hard work doesn't seem to be paying off yet. It teaches you to keep watering the seed even before it sprouts. Some of the biggest blessings in my life came after years of waiting and working with no sign that anything was about to change. Patience makes sure you don't give up 5 minutes before the miracle happens. Then comes focus, and this is where you protect yourself from distractions. Discipline gets you started, patience keeps you waiting, but focus keeps you from wasting your energy on things that don't matter. If you're not clear about what you want, you'll find yourself working hard but going in circles. Focus sharpens your vision. It reminds you why you started in the first place. Life is full of noise, people with opinions, obstacles that test your faith, temptations that try to pull you off your path. But when you focus, you don't let those things shake you. You keep your eyes on the goal, and you don't stop until you get there. And while you stay disciplined, patient, and focused, you've also got to accept failure as part of the process. Too many people treat failure as the end, when really it's just part of the journey. Failure is not a sign you should quit. It's feedback telling you what to do differently. Every successful person you know has failed more times than they've succeeded. But the reason they made it is because they didn't let failure stop them. They use it as fuel to get better. Failure is only final if you quit. But if you keep moving, every failure becomes a stepping stone toward success. Ladies and gentlemen, if there is one truth I've learned in my journey, is that success doesn't come by accident. It comes from living with discipline. Discipline is that daily decision to push past your excuses and do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. It's waking up earlier than the rest, practicing longer than others, and staying consistent when your body and mind are screaming for rest. People often confuse discipline with restriction, but the truth is, discipline is freedom. It's the freedom of knowing that your hard work today is carving a better tomorrow. Every single time you choose discipline over comfort, you add another brick to the foundation of your success. But discipline alone won't be enough if you don't carry patience with it. We live in a world that celebrates overnight success, but what most people don't see is the years of effort behind those so-called overnight stories. Patience is the ability to trust the process, even when results aren't showing up yet. It's continuing to grind while everyone else is telling you to quit. Patience is not laziness. It's active faith that what you're working on will pay off at the right time. The problem is, too many people give up just before their breakthrough arrives. They plant the seed but walk away before the harvest. If you want real success, you must be willing to wait and endure while continuing to put in the work every single day. Now, along with discipline and patience, you need focus. Focus is what keeps you locked on the vision while the world is throwing distractions in your face. Distractions come in the form of people, opportunities that don't fit your purpose, fear, and even your own doubts. Without focus, you'll waste your time being consistent in the wrong direction. Focus gives clarity, it sharpens your actions, and it keeps you moving toward your true calling. When you're focused, you stop comparing your journey to someone else's. You stop letting other people's opinions steer you off course. Instead, you keep your eyes on your own prize, and you refuse to let go until you get there. And no matter how much discipline, patience, and focus you have, you will encounter failure along the way. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is a necessary part of it. Too many people let failure define them, but failure is just feedback. Every time you fall, you're learning, growing, and developing the strength you'll need for the next stage of the journey. I've failed more times than I can count, but every failure taught me something I needed to know to prepare for success. If you avoid failure, you avoid growth. The key is to fail forward, to take the lesson and keep moving. Finally, you have to surround yourself with the right people. The company you keep will either fuel your consistency or destroy it. If you're around people who doubt you, discourage you, or settle for less, you'll eventually do the same. But if you're surrounded by people who believe in you, who push you, who challenge you to keep going, you'll stay consistent even on the hardest days. No one succeeds alone. You need an environment that feeds your vision instead of starving it. When you put discipline, patience, focus, the courage to face failure, and the right people together, you build consistency. And once you have consistency, there's nothing that can stop you from reaching success. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you this. Success is not magic. It's not luck, and it surely doesn't happen overnight. Success is built brick by brick through consistency, and the very first brick is discipline. Discipline is what makes you do the things you don't want to do, but you know you have to do. It's the voice that says, get up when your body says, stay in bed. The force that pushes you to practice when your mind says you've done enough. Without discipline, dreams remain fantasies. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you move one step closer to building a life you desire. But discipline can't stand alone. You got to have patience. Too many people quit because the results didn't come fast enough. We live in a world of instant gratification, but success is not instant. It's like planting a seed in the ground. You water it, you nurture it, you wait for the sun to shine on it, and over time it grows into something strong. Patience is the belief that what you're working toward will come to pass if you stay the course. The truth is, most people never fail, they just give up too early. Patience makes sure you don't walk away before your breakthrough arrives. Now, once you've got discipline and patience, you need focus. Focus is knowing what you want and refusing to let anything distract you from it. Without focus, all your energy gets scattered in directions that don't serve your purpose. You can be disciplined and patient, but if you're not focused on the right goal, you'll end up wasting years of effort. Focus gives you clarity. It makes you say no to distractions, no to negativity, no to anything that doesn't line up with the vision God placed in your heart. When you stay focused, you protect your dream from being watered down by the noise of the world. But even with discipline, patience, and focus, you're going to face failure. Failure is not the enemy, it's the teacher. Every time you stumble, every time you get rejected, every time you fall short, you're being given information about how to do better. The people who win are not the ones who never fail. They're the ones who never stop after they fail. I've failed more times than I've succeeded. But every failure prepared me for the victories that follow. Failure is not a reason to quit. It's a reason to keep going smarter and stronger. And while you're pushing forward, you need to surround yourself with the right people. You cannot reach success by walking with those who don't believe in success themselves. If your circle doesn't push you, inspire you, and hold you accountable, then your circle is holding you back. The right people will lift you when you fall, cheer for you when you win, and remind you of your vision when you forget it. Above all, you need faith. Faith is what keeps you going when you can't see the finish line. Faith is believing that even though the doors are closed today, they are open tomorrow if you don't stop knocking. Faith connects your consistency to God's timing. It gives you the strength to keep showing up when nothing seems to be working. With faith, you stop worrying about when it will happen and trust that it will happen. But sometimes when you put discipline, patience, focus, failure, the right people, and faith together, consistency becomes a way of life. And once consistency becomes your lifestyle, success is no longer a possibility, it's a guarantee.